There's something special about the people of Iquitos in this region. I'll reiterate that because they are entirely surrounded by water. I would venture to say that the vast majority of these people in Iquitos were at one point in their lives in the jungle, or at least had relatives in it. When you live in a place like this, you want to make sure the people around you are on your side. You want a team, you want a tribe, you want to ultimately have people around you that will make your life easier down the road. You don't want enemies. While I was in the city, I found that people were extremely helpful. Naturally, the people at the hotel were great and highly accommodated, but heck, I was paying for that. It was when I ventured off alone outside the hotel I got the true feeling of the local love. Look, I'm 6 foot and stick out like a sore thumb, okay? And there were certainly a large number of people trying to sell me everything from cheaply made briskets, weed, coke, and ayahuasca. This is to be expected, as basically gringo equals money. However, I was able to walk into a restaurant and struggle through ordering some ceviche and some broken Spanish. They served it to me with a smile. The first place I ate, the lady actually took the time to write out the details of the different food options, as it wasn't getting done verbally. I was able to communicate with most people verbally in Spanish that I was there to catch fish. I spoke to one guy, Ciro, at a place, and I told him I wanted to go catch paiche or ari parma. He actually drew me a map of how to get there and was legitimately willing to take me there where he catches them. I believe there would have been no money involved in this, although if he had taken me to a spot and I was in fact catching ari parma, I would have gladly paid him whatever he had asked. There's communication without words that shows love as well. I was standing in line with people to grab a certain drink. I didn't have the slightest clue what the hell it was, but I knew two things. One, there were a crap load of people there waiting to get it. It was probably good. And two, it was steaming hot, so I assumed I wouldn't get sick from it. As a general rule, you shouldn't be eating street food from third world countries. The kid not only hooked it up, but I got a full show, a tall pour, which started with him pouring it from above his head down to a lower container, the whole 9 yards. He did this as if he was showing he was proud of what he was serving. I found a great deal of pride in the people of this city. They have seemingly little, and what they lack in material things that most of us can't live without, i.e. cell phones, internet, and what have you. They have something that most of us seem to be lacking these days. They care about their fellow humans. While we were on board, the crew was mega accommodating. If I wanted to stop the boat to get a shot, no problem, we stopped the boat. It was the native people who truly wowed me, though. Imagine you live on a river and you generally know everyone who passes by. All of a sudden, a big boat of gringos pulls up. This is clearly not your everyday occurrence. The people would come running to the boat, eager to check out what we were up to. Sure, they might see folks like us and gringo equals money. My Spanish isn't great, but I can tell you that I don't think I ever heard anyone ask for anything in return for showing us where the fish were. We'd pull up, we'd ask where the black water was or the small streams were, and they wouldn't point. They'd walk us right to it. This is Michael. I've never been stared at harder in my entire life by anyone than this guy. While I was uncomfortable about it for about 2 minutes, this dude knew where the fish were. He and his buddies hopped in our boat and took us straight to their spot. Oh, and you think I'm good with a net? I actually handed my net to his buddy who outfished me 10-1. I wish I had more pics of this guy, but later on that day I actually lost my camera swimming with pink dolphins. Speaking of that, while I was floating around an inner tube later that day, my camera actually fell out while I was boarding the boat. Naturally, I was demoralized despite the fact that I had just been swimming with one of my favorite creatures on the planet. The boat crew actually stopped and attempted several times in vain, swimming down 15 feet and 20 inches of visibility to retrieve my camera. While it was no use, the gesture was certainly awesome. Yet another example of the people in this region can be seen when we rolled up on a river that was log jammed beyond repair. My gut told me, screw it, dude, looks like we're moving on to another channel. Nope. The crew didn't even flinch. They pulled right up into it and found the biggest tree that was clogging it, tied a rope to it, and pulled him out. We did this probably 8 times, okay? We spent about an hour. Let me ask you this. How many times a year do you stop what you're doing to help out complete strangers for an hour? Oh, this, folks, is George. He walked us up both to his pond in his backyard, where I saw Amazon swords growing in the wild, and across the river to another pond. He overestimated the size of our boat and yelled, "Daria, Kayo, Kanoa!" 2 seconds later, his kid pulled up in a canoe, ready to take us across the way. You could see by the stupid look on my face as I hopped in the canoe how excited I was to go check out their fishing spot. As always, to show our appreciation to everyone we met, we invited every single person that helped us back to the boat to help them out. Whether it was some gasoline, some medicine, some bread, or some food, or in my case, some crayons, our appreciation was always shown and reciprocated. Oh, and how was the fishing in that spot? Well, here's a picture of Segundo holding up a bag of cory cats we pulled out of it.